Welcome to another Drew's Book Reviews. So today's book, Richard Morgan, The Steel Remains. So this is actually the first time I've read anything by Richard Morgan. I actually saw this book on a top 10 list somewhere. I don't even remember where, but it was a top 10 must-read books of the year kind of deal. And I thought, sure, why not? Looks interesting. I'll pick it up, check it out, see how it goes, and whether or not I like his writing or not. Before I tell you what I think of the book and my final result, I'll just go over some brief things with you with regard to the characters, that sort of thing. So we've got Ringle. He is the hero of Gallows Gap and the most recent war in this world's history. We got Archeth, the last of her race, who has fled the world. Her race has fled the world. She's kind of like a half-breed, half-human, half something other than human, alien, different species, whatever you want to call it. And then we got Edgar Dragonbane, the steppe nomad and leader of his tribe. So these three characters, they all have their separate storylines going on in the book. So we'll start with Ringo, who is charged with searching out and finding his cousin who has been sold into slavery due to all the debts that her family is owed. So he's charged with searching her out, finding her, and bringing her back to safety. And then for Archeth, she is dispatched by the Emperor to investigate, what exactly happened in the port city of Kangset. Strange reports are coming from the land of these mist wraith-like people who are coming out of nowhere and slaughtering the people. And then we've got, of course, Edgar Dragonbane, leader of his tribe. And he's informed of a plot to kill him and unthrone him from leader of the tribe, so to speak. And eventually all three of their storylines eventually merge, with Ringle playing the primary key storyline in the book. Now, thing with Ringle is he's an interesting character for a fantasy novel. He's not your typical character, typical kind of hero. Honestly, he's angry. He is just outright pissed at the world. Almost every interaction this character has, he's mad, he's angry, he's got a very, tough guy, screw you type of attitude. And another interesting thing about this character is he's gay in a world where everything and everyone hates gay people. He's often called a degenerate. He's held beneath contempt by so many he encounters, and despised by the very society in which he lives. So I suppose he has a reason to be angry, given all that. And Edgar, of course, being the leader of his tribe, he's a veteran of the war, but all he seems to do is to drink away his time and have sex with whores and all this kind of stuff. But and his tribe does not follow the religion of the Empire, which the Empire barely tolerates. So they're like pagans, and the Emperor wants to get rid of their religion, but not as easy as it seems of the far distant from the capital in the Northlands. Now, the common enemy of all three of these, our main characters, is a group of people called the Duenda, who have this ability to move in and out of time, which gives them this appearance to suddenly appear out of nowhere like these wraiths or ghosts. And they're very skilled at killing and destruction. So, of course, they're invading the world, trying to take back what they see as rightfully theirs. And that's essentially the plot behind this storyline, the basic concept of the story. But with the story, there's a real lack of development when the story starts. It simply doesn't really get off the ground running, and is very, very slow. I was about halfway through the book, and I was thinking, so when does the story start? And so much of at least the first half of the book is taken up by these, characters having these flashbacks about the war that they all fought in together, but not really much of a start on the story itself. But when the second half comes around, it really starts to pick up the pace, and you really start seeing story development. It just took, in my opinion, way too long for the story to get anywhere. And that for me is problematic, because if you want to get somebody interested in a book or in a story, you got to really start the story. You can't just sit there waiting for things to happen, which it felt like a lot. They're, too busy daydreaming about their past and not really moving along on the storyline and plot, which is a problematic element for sure. Now, Ringle, you know what? Honestly, Richard Morgan, if you ever see this review, we get it. He's gay. We don't need all this crazy, insane, explicit gay sex scenes that you like to throw in there. I mean, come on, man. We know he's gay. We don't need all that stuff. It's really was pointless to the whole story as far as I'm concerned. There's certainly a role to play when it comes to sex in the story. It can definitely be used to advance the plot. It could be used as part of the storyline. As an example, some books read, you've had a seductress seducing her enemy to distract and deceive him to gain an advantage, for example. But in this, it was just like you wanted to highly emphasize the fact that he was gay. Did we really need all that explicit sex scenes in there? And it's not just gay sex in there. There is some, straight sex within the book as well, and it's not just all that. But the point is, it was really useless sex. There's no point for it to be there. And I thought that was really, honestly, just completely pointless. And at one point, Ringle says, oh, well, I just, slept with this guy who's our enemy to convince him to do what I want. Well, that's a pretty lame excuse. It really felt like he was more captive by the Duenda and really held as their sex slave. Not that he was using sex to gain advantage over his enemy, which seemed to be kind of a lousy excuse written into the book or even by the character himself. So overall, that was just really poorly executed, seriously overdone, and honestly just not worth it to have that within the book as far as the storyline goes. But the conceptual design of the story is pretty good. I mean, you've got these war veterans who their society doesn't seem to care much for, who are now faced with a challenge where they must unite and once again save their world. I mean, it's a great concept. I love the idea of these time-shifting people who could shift in and out of time. That's pretty cool. Really like that aspect of it. But overall, my impressions of this book really aren't that great. It's not well done in terms of story execution and plot. The development progress of getting into the story was pretty slow. And just some things were seriously overdone and really had no need to be in there. You could probably take out 30% of the book and not lose anything. So in terms of plot progression, story progression, a lot of useless, irrelevant, unnecessary aspects to the book. Doesn't exactly get me a high rating for Richard Morgan, though I do get sometimes first impressions or first books when you read an author aren't always going to be the final result of whether or not you like the author. So with that in mind, I'm not going to give up on Richard Morgan so easily. I'm not just going to write him off as a bad writer or anything. But this book definitely leaves room for improvement. I'll hope that the second book in the series will be vastly improved upon. But if it's not, I'm probably going to write Richard Morgan off as an author, not bother with it anymore. But hopefully there's some improvement there. Overall, I'll give this book 5 out of 10 bookworms. So, it's mediocre. You lose points for unnecessary stuff. You get some points for having a decent plot and story, but poor execution. Just not well executed, not well written from the beginning, and could use a lot of improvement. Next up, we are going to be having Richard Morgan's The Cold Commands. It is the second book in the series. Like I said, hopefully this one is a lot better than the first one in the series. So hopefully we'll see some improvements. Otherwise, Richard, I'm writing you off as an author. If you can't sell me after 2 books, I'm probably not going to read anything more of your stuff. So thanks for watching. Again, comment below, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching.